audience, we are Las Perlas del Mar News and Women in Art. Today, we have a fantastic artist in our studio. She is a poet, an actress, a singer, a playwright, a musician, a teacher, and a businesswoman. Her works are provocative and alive, a combination of humor, energy, and with a beautiful, charismatic presence. She is Naila Keleta Mae.
Generations supposed to get better. That she granny would say. She did the one to be a teacher. She did the one to move to tongue. She did the one to rent one.
This poem is called 9 Women. WOMYN. Don't you go down in the narrow nasty gutters with them. Filthy razors be they claws, swaggering. 7 women of color cocks, circling. Don't you go down in the bowels of degradation with them, scheming, snarling, spinning soul from flesh. Your interactions were traumatic. Now you're bloodied, bruised, discombobulated, and calling them sisters? Fool. Of color don't make them blood. And gender don't mean they care about you. They be marrow-sucking, solidarity spewing, trifling bamboozlers. 7 women of color cocks, flavored tangy, acrid, sour, underbelly masks, molded core in search of fire. Cure? 1 blossoming gardenia to reignite olfactory. 5 tablespoons of cod liver oil to cleanse. A heap of sassafras for nurture, and repeat in sleep, no safety there. And don't calculate vengeance. Ain't nothing worthwhile nor worthy in it. Just hold on to proper folks, women and men who rock you gentle, forgive you wordless, scoop you up off ceramic, brush foundation on your jawline, whisper your name when you forget your own damn self. Look through you and love a sense into you. Hold on to them. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are here with beautiful Naila. You hear her poem, very strong, very powerful. And I want to ask you, where do those strong words come from?
Painful experiences and joyful experiences too. They come from conversations, they come from observations, and they come from a real desire in my work to think about and to write about and teach about and perform about some of the things that we don't discuss, I feel, are not being discussed as much as they need to be in the communities that I'm around.
Yeah, I know that we need to discuss more about all kinds of issues with women. We don't have it in the news a lot, enough, right? We don't have enough about us. And I also see that your poetry and the way that you perform is very kind of dedicated to women. It's like when you write these poems of the music, when you sing, your inspiration, like you remember something strong?
I think it's not just, I think for me what I'm thinking about is not only the ways in which women aren't, and people, all kinds of people, right, aren't represented in the media, but I think about the ways in which even in our private lives and in our conversations in small groups, that there are certain things that we don't talk about. And so I feel like my inspiration, perhaps some of it comes from the silence around those tables where we're eating, around, the silences in our bedrooms, in our family rooms, on the subways, and including in the news and the kind of what's considered to be popular art. So I'm inspired by, I think, what I feel like isn't being said as much, and what I'm afraid to say myself.
Afraid because maybe they won't take it in the right way, like probably we will.
And afraid because it's not all flattering, right? Like it's not, it's not that only how other people will perceive it, but it's about what it means for me to recognize some of these things in myself, So when I'm talking in that last poem about these 7 women of color in this community of solidarity who are really, in a way, being violent to one another, it's because I've been one of those women, who've been violent in language and actions, and in the silences, right? And so it's not just a thing of kind of pointing outwards, but sometimes I'm afraid to look at the ways in which I'm participating in the structures of power that I'm uncomfortable with, in the ways of treating people that I'm uncomfortable with. So it's my own participation as well that makes that brings a certain amount of fear and risk to my work.
Right. When I was coming here, I just got the news, and I got an email by a woman that got killed because her actions as a human looking for human rights for women in this particular part in Mexico, and she got killed because she was looking for justice, and it just made my skin like shaking and making me nervous and see how can we don't talk more about what is happening to women out there. And that's what I admire from you, that you in a way that you say your poems, you remind us there is a lot to do for women still.
Thank you. I think too that I recognize that where I live, being in Canada, in a way allows me to speak with less risk, that there's definitely the risk of perception in family and community, but I'm not, at risk for physical harm. I'm not at risk for, threats against my family, the way that many people in the world right now are at risk. And the ways that I'm not at risk also too within, and not just by virtue of being in Canada, but it's about kind of my class within Canada too. My citizenship within Canada also permits me to kind of take some risks as well. I'm not worried that I'm here illegally, or that I'm trying to seek refugee status, or I'm not here worrying that I don't speak either of the national languages. I'm not here worrying about kind of, if I can work, or those kinds of real practical everyday things. I'm not here with a family somewhere else that I need to support. So it allows me to, and I think it makes, that there's a certain responsibility too in those conditions, that if I am going to be an artist and an educator and a scholar, then what's the purpose of this? Because there are people all around the world who are at great physical risk, who are being murdered and incarcerated and terrorized, for saying a poem.
Peux-tu m'entendre? Je suis ici. Je t'attends. Si je te donne tout ce qui est moi, et si je t'offre tout ce que je suis.